Our brains are intricate networks, buzzing with electrical impulses and chemical messengers. This complex system is vulnerable to external forces. Drugs, in their many forms, are such forces. They interfere with the brain's delicate balance. Imagine a rogue actor slipping backstage at a play, disrupting the carefully orchestrated performance. This is akin to how drugs meddle with our neural pathways, mimicking, blocking, or amplifying the signals that orchestrate our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Different drugs, with their unique chemical structures, target specific neurotransmitters and receptors in the brain, much like keys fitting into particular locks. Some drugs flood the brain with dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This creates an artificial surge of euphoria, hijacking the brain's natural reward system. Other drugs might block the reuptake of certain neurotransmitters, leading to an excess buildup in the synapses, further disrupting normal communication. The blood-brain barrier, a protective shield that filters substances entering the brain, is often no match for these chemical intruders. Drugs penetrate this barrier, reaching sensitive brain regions like the hippocampus, amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. These areas are crucial for learning, memory, emotions, and decision-making. The disruption caused by drugs can have profound and long-lasting effects on these cognitive functions. Think of the brain as a finely tuned instrument. Drugs, like clumsy hands, can knock it out of tune. This disruption manifests in the altered perceptions, moods, and behaviors that we associate with drug use. Understanding how drugs hijack our brain chemistry is the first step in comprehending the complexities of addiction. Dopamine, often dubbed the pleasure molecule, is central to the brain's reward system. This system is designed to reinforce behaviors essential for survival and well-being. When we engage in activities like eating a satisfying meal, accomplishing a challenging task, or experiencing social connection, our brain releases dopamine. This dopamine surge creates a sense of pleasure, motivating us to repeat these behaviors. Drugs, however, exploit this ancient mechanism. Imagine dopamine as a tiny messenger carrying a feel-good message to the brain. Addictive drugs cause a massive surge of dopamine, flooding the brain with these messages. This creates an intense, euphoric high that dwarfs the pleasure experienced from natural rewards. Over time, the brain, bombarded by this artificial dopamine rush, adapts to the new normal. This adaptation leads to tolerance, meaning that the individual requires increasingly larger doses of the drug to achieve the same high. The brain, accustomed to the artificially elevated dopamine levels, also becomes less responsive to natural rewards. Everyday activities that once brought joy, like spending time with loved ones or engaging in hobbies, now seem dull and unappealing. The pursuit of the drug-induced high becomes the primary focus, leading to a vicious cycle of craving, use, and escalating consequences. This is the crux of addiction. The brain's reward system, once a source of motivation and pleasure, becomes hijacked by the drug, driving compulsive drug-seeking behavior. Each drug, with its unique chemical composition, leaves a distinct fingerprint on the brain. Stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine unleash a surge of dopamine, triggering intense euphoria and increased energy. This, however, is often followed by a crash marked by anxiety, paranoia, and exhaustion. Opioids like heroin and fentanyl, on the other hand, bind to opioid receptors in the brain. This interaction mimics the effects of endorphins, the body's natural painkillers, producing feelings of relaxation and euphoria. Hallucinogens, as their name suggests, alter perception and sensory experiences. LSD, for example, interacts with serotonin receptors, leading to visual and auditory hallucinations, distorted time perception, and altered states of consciousness. Cannabis, with its psychoactive compound THC, affects the brain's cannabinoid receptors, influencing mood, memory, and appetite. While cannabis can have therapeutic benefits, its chronic use can also lead to cognitive impairment and addiction. The long-term consequences of drug use vary depending on the drug, frequency of use, and individual vulnerability. Prolonged stimulant use can lead to cardiovascular problems, paranoia, and psychosis. Chronic opioid use can cause respiratory depression, tolerance, and overdose. Hallucinogen use, while not typically associated with physical dependence, can trigger underlying mental health conditions or lead to distressing flashbacks. Understanding the specific effects of different drugs on the brain is crucial for developing targeted prevention and treatment strategies. It also highlights the complex interplay between biology, environment, and individual choices in shaping the trajectory of addiction. Addiction, far from being a moral failing, is a complex brain disease that profoundly alters behavior and perception. The brain, hijacked by drugs, becomes fixated on obtaining and using the substance, despite devastating consequences. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and long-term planning, becomes impaired. This explains why individuals struggling with addiction may engage in risky behaviors, disregard responsibilities, and prioritize drug use above all else. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, also plays a role in the cycle of addiction. As tolerance develops and withdrawal symptoms emerge, the amygdala interprets the absence of the drug as a threat to survival. This triggers intense cravings and anxiety, driving the individual to seek the drug to alleviate discomfort. The brain, once seeking pleasure, is now driven by the need to avoid pain. This shift from pleasure-seeking to pain avoidance is a hallmark of addiction. The individual, once in control of their choices, becomes enslaved by the relentless demands of their altered brain chemistry. Relationships suffer, careers crumble, and physical health deteriorates as the addiction tightens its grip. The individual, trapped in a distorted reality, may not even recognize the severity of their situation or the damage it inflicts on themselves and those around them. Understanding the profound impact of addiction on behavior and perception is essential for fostering compassion and dismantling the stigma surrounding this disease. It paves the way for a more humane and effective approach to treatment, recognizing that addiction is not a choice but a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and social factors. While the grip of addiction can feel inescapable, there is always hope for recovery. The brain, despite the damage inflicted by drugs, possesses remarkable plasticity, the ability to adapt and rewire itself. This inherent capacity for change forms the foundation of recovery. Through evidence-based treatments, social support, and personal resilience, individuals can break free from the chains of addiction and rebuild their lives. Medication-assisted treatment, MAT, utilizes medications to manage withdrawal symptoms, reduce cravings, and restore neurochemical balance. Behavioral therapies, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and contingency management, provide individuals with coping mechanisms, relapse prevention strategies, and tools to modify destructive thought patterns and behaviors. Support groups like Narcotics Anonymous and Smart Recovery offer a sense of community, understanding, and shared experience, reminding individuals they are not alone in their journey. Recovery is not a linear path. It is often marked by setbacks and challenges. However, each step forward, no matter how small, is a testament to the brain's remarkable ability to heal and rewire itself. As individuals in recovery reclaim their lives, they often discover hidden strengths, newfound passions, and a deeper appreciation for the preciousness of life. Their experiences, once defined by addiction, can become a source of inspiration, resilience, and a commitment to helping others navigate the path to recovery. The journey of recovery is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. It is a journey of self-discovery, resilience, and hope. A journey that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the potential for healing and transformation remains within reach.